back in the 70s, people never wore their seatbelts. It was just kind of a thing that was always in a car, but nobody wore them, right? Mm-hmm. And they studied why people wear them besides this life and safety part of it all. What changed, because it was the same back then as it is now, what changed and to make people wear seatbelts now? And there's two reasons that changed it. One is the fact that seatbelts kind of sit on your chest a little bit and you feel that pressure. And when you don't wear it, you feel like you're missing something. And two is the dang ding, ding, ding in the car.
True.
Because it reminded you to do it. And I think there's some similarities to why we pick up our phones, because ding could be my wife or a coupon to go buy a t-shirt down the street. Like, I think there's just some general personalities to mobile messaging that you can't get elsewhere.
Welcome back to another episode of No Hold Time. David Ariza, Eric Robeson, Brian Bremer, we're here, all three of us. Today, I get to pick the topic, and I want to talk about mobile messaging. We've come a long way since the days of T9. And I want to lean on you, Brian, because you have a lot of mobile messaging experience. And you can take it whatever way you want.
Okay. Have at it.
And he texts a lot.
Yeah.
I text a lot. All right, I'm going to start with the quiz question. Does anybody know what year the first text message went out?
Oh, I know what it said.
That's my next question.
88?
David?
I'm going to say 1985, the year the Bears won the Super Bowl.
How about producer Jake in the background? You can yell it because you're not mic'd up.
Before I was born, so.
Okay. It was 1992.
I was going to say 92.
It was Vodafone in the UK.
I know what it said.
What did it say?
Merry Christmas.
It said Merry Christmas.
But,
We've been text messaging.
I don't believe that.
Why?
Because don't they say Happy Christmas in the UK?
Maybe it was an American. I don't know who.
American developer over
That's
in the
part
UK?
of the quiz I don't know yet. So we've been text messaging for 30, what's the math? 31, 32 years at this point. That's a long time. It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
No.
And maybe it's because we just didn't have the tech. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's been 32 years. David, let's turn it back to what we normally talk about, which is businesses and communication. How do you feel when a company texts you? And it could be anything. Like, let's pick retail. What happens when retail texts you? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, text messaging is more personal, right? So I don't give out my number to a lot of people, my friends, family, but outside of friends and family, I don't like to give out my personal number. So oftentimes I feel that if someone is texting me, I allow like 3 or 4 businesses that I'm super loyal to, like Yeti. They send me promotional stuff all the time, and they get me every time. New color in stock.
Sponsorships are available,
yes.
by the way.
He would love your ice bucket.
We launched a new pink. I have 2 daughters. Yes, okay, boom, you got me. New water bottle for the girls. But I like to think about it even with customers for me, right? When we have meetings, I have a quick question. Normally I send them an email or call them and ask them to formally meet about this one topic, where if it is just 1 or 2 questions, I think that there are a handful of customers, and I feel like that's a part of me being successful in my role, is having deep, really good connections with customers, that I get to a point where I can just text a customer and say, hey, here's a thing, do you know what it is? Or, hey, do you have a few minutes to talk? Versus an email. So I think that when applying that with customers and their customers, and in CX, customer experience, text messaging is more personal.
So let me pull on it a little bit. What happens if a company sends you a coupon? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like they violated that personal space? Do you feel like it's beneficial to you? Not talking about Yeti. We love Yeti. Please sponsor us, Yeti.
Yes.
But like, let's just, you signed up for something you bought for your kids, and then they send you a, hey, if you come again, we'll give you 25% off.
Yeah, I'm so particular that if it's not something that I've already signed up for, I just automatically respond with stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Eric, I'm asking you a similar question. How do you feel if someone like the shipping company sends you a text messaging saying something's coming? Is that a violation of personalization? Do you like it? Do you expect it?
For that specific use case, I immediately think fraud.
Okay.
Because those are when you get a text message that says click this link, you have a shipping, a shipment that's pending.
Right.
That's the one that comes up all the time. That's some sort of fraudulent activity. For something like that where it's very transactional, it's, hey, something's shipping to you, I'm likely going to use more of their mobile application, their push notifications to know if FedEx has shipped something or it's out for delivery from UPS, versus kind of the question you asked David around, what if a company you do business with, sends you 20% off? Similar to David, if I'm a repeat buyer, I'm a loyal customer, keep on sending, like new product releases. But if you're one-off, I'm doing the same thing. If you reach out to me, I'm going to say stop. I don't need any more.
I'm going to have to look it up. At one point in the last 4 or 5 years, I used to go on sales runs, and we would have a stat that some group did a study. It was like 97% of people look at a text message within the first hour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think it goes up to 98.5% within the first 24 hours. And on the average, the human being, or Americans, I should say, look at their phones over 50 times a day.
Yeah.
No, it's more than that.
I know.
It's
has to
like
be.
200 times a day.
I need to look those stats up because they're a little bit dated. But, when we first jumped into SMS in this business, I shouldn't say first, I was before me, but when I first jumped into the SMS business, it was still pretty young for brands to pick it up. We only had certain really kind of savvy clients of ours that were taking advantage of getting into the personal space. But I'll ask this question differently because we'll take this a different direction. What do you feel better about, a text message from a brand or an app notification from a brand? Because I mute all of my app notifications except for my airlines.
That's a good
and
point.
Maybe ESPN. We'll also take that sponsorship too.
I feel like an app other than airlines, but even airlines, I get SMS messages. I land, my gate's changed. I get a text message, but I also get a message from the mobile application. I would say I am more likely to pay attention and respond to getting a text message than the numerous mobile notifications that, if you're an iOS user, just goes into your backlog of notifications that you end up hitting the X to clear them all out, so you don't see any of them.
My Ring doorbell and my
Yes.
ESPN apps and everything else. How about you? What do you trust more, in-app notifications or text messaging?
That's a different question.
It is.
That's a different question.
Good way of putting it.
Not clearly. I trust the app more because it's the app, right? You had to sign in, all that stuff.
Yep.
I'd prefer a text message from one of those trusted brands, but I always verify it.
Which catches your eye or attention the most, text messages or in-app?
Text messages.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Agreed.
I would imagine most people probably are, which is amazing to me because there's a lot of time spent put on mobile notifications and the things that come with it.
Well, what's interesting, on your devices, the type of notification you get a different, buzz or vibration or notification. And when I get the text notification that's set up for my device, I will instantly look at it.
Yeah.
If I get the other type of buzz where it's more of a mobile app push, I may not pick my phone up.
Yeah.
Text message gets me every time to at least look and see who it's from.
Yeah. I have a curveball. I love curveballs. Why don't we talk about maybe your favorite experience or your favorite application for SMS?
Something that we've built or just something I've experienced or both?
Either one.
Okay.
Either one. And if you guys need some time to think about it, I can go first because I have one.
You go
and I've
first.
talked about it in the past, right? It's
Pest control?
no, that was
The
was voice.
The hat company.
That was voice. No, the hat company is great. No, this is better because it helped me mentally, physically, in many ways. But pre-appointment notifications or pre-appointment reminders, I think, is just the best thing because it helps every single person involved, right? Let's take the example of you have a procedure tomorrow, and the instructions are take a couple Advil the night before, don't eat after midnight, and be there at 6 a.m. because doctors love to have you there as early as possible. You get that information, then you prep correctly, you're at the right place, you're there at the right time. But let's say that they forget, or there's a company that doesn't send that pre-appointment notification, and I forgot, and I worked late, so I got a burrito late night, and it was an amazing burrito, but I ate at 1 p.m. because I was working hard. And then I show up, and I need anesthesia the next day, and they don't like to put you under anesthesia whenever you've had food. And so now they've had to rebook that procedure for a different date. And so the doctor and the doctor's office, the nurse, all those people's revenue has been affected that could have been avoided by an automated SMS that reminds you not to eat after midnight.
Yeah.
That's my favorite application.
I've got two. One is very similar. Anytime you're going to set up an appointment to do something on a website, everyone knows the different experiences you can have. Sometimes you hit submit and it just kind of goes back to another page and you're like, did that really go through?
Yeah.
Or you get a confirmation, but you're still like, wow, this is a pretty important appointment. Like I had to go get a passport for my child. And if you've ever done that before, it's both parents. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to do. So getting that appointment and making sure we can get it quickly and we got the right information. When I went and I scheduled for that appointment and I got a text message from the post office, which I wasn't expecting. I was kind of pleasantly surprised that was confirming his appointment. It made me feel so much better, like, okay, we're on the books, I know what I'm doing. So I love we've confirmed your appointment, or the night before an appointment, or the day of, just reminding you, hey, just remember this, similar to what you were talking about, David, with don't do this or do this. Love those. And then back on more the marketing front, the companies I do business with, I love getting a text message that has sort of this, GIF or interactive picture to it that says, oh, we just launched this. Here's what it looks like. I don't even have to go to their website. I'm like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. With a quick link, I can go and buy it. I love that. I love a visual experience when it comes to more of that marketing front.
Yeah. I've got 3. I'm just going to keep ramping it up. I had my gas fireplace in my house go out last couple of weeks ago, and I have never called a gas fireplace repairman before, but I found this place on the internet, called him up, could have been completely fraudulent. I had no idea. And the guy comes out. Before he comes out, he sends me a picture of his face and says, this is what I look like, I'm coming today. And I was like, okay, at least I know what you look like.
Yeah.
You might be fraudulent still, but you're coming to my house, I can tell you it's you and not somebody else, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was, when we've done it for cable and
Yes.
technicians before, where we send, hey, this is what I look like today. I think that stuff's kind of cool, especially with the way the times are with security, safety, and trust in the world of all this stuff. I like that one. The other use case, maybe I'll just scale it down to 2. I'll scale it to 2. I'm with you. I'll go 3. I like the idea of visual MMS, multimedia messaging.
Yep.
a few years ago, and they still do it today. Some of the cell phone companies, if you sign up as a new customer of theirs, will send you a 1 megabyte video explaining what your first bill is going to look like, and it's all automated. But they take your name, what you've signed up for, and they put these variables into this thing, and it produces a video. It says, "Hey Brian, thanks for joining XYZ. Your first bill's coming on the 1st. It's going to have a $29 activation fee. Don't be surprised if you see that. Oh, by the way, we forgot to sign you up for loyalty. Do you want to click this link and get it done?" Small video, told everybody what happened, deflected a bunch of questions from me.
It's probably the #1 call driver for customer acquisition. Is
1,000%.
first bill. What is this thing?
And I thought it was really stellar. And if those folks that make those videos, I still like you. You're really good. The other one that I really like, we've done, I get email surveys every day of my life.
Yeah.
How was that flight? What'd you think of that Amazon thing? What's this? What's that? I never respond to any of them. I'm sorry, I just don't. But I got surveys via text, and it was, "Hey, Jim came to your house. What'd you think? Rate 1 to 5, 5 being good. 5. Cool. Would you recommend him for another time? 2. And I was done. And I didn't even think twice about the survey. It came to my device. It got my attention, which email doesn't. And I got that done really, really fast. And the company got what they wanted out of me, which is a high NPS score. I thought those things were really slick in that space.
It would be interesting to understand based on some of the responses we've had today on how we immediately look or respond to text messages, why, the psychology behind it. And it kind of goes back to something David was saying around like the personalization. But if you look at communication, email is sort of the most impersonal. It feels very rigid. Phone calls probably next, but okay, I'm talking to someone, but why then would an SMS text message feel more personal? And we were talking before this, and sometimes when you're talking to someone and a question comes up and you don't quite know how to respond, you feel it's uncomfortable, you feel on the spot, versus a text message to where they sent you a question and you don't feel like you have to respond immediately. You can respond 2 minutes later after you have a chance to think about it. So you feel like you're giving them a better response and you feel more comfortable about how you responded. You didn't feel that tension that built up.
Maybe it's the ability to hit the delete or edit button.
Yeah, that's true. When they came out with the edit feature.
I have a good one. This is maybe a good way to think about it. Whenever you call someone, unless you're in sales and are trying to meet someone or set an appointment, whenever you call something, normally I feel like you need something right now.
So immediacy.
Right? Hey, I'm calling you because I need to deliver this news, or I'm calling you because I need you to tell me what this is. Where whenever you text someone, it's, hey man, just get back to me whenever you have a sec, okay? It's not super important. And so I think that's why maybe your guard is down and you're cool with it. But I feel like you personally and professionally need to get to a point where texting is okay, right? Like we've talked about brands that we're very happy to receive a text message from. And that's because we, in our relationship with this brand, trust them, appreciate their customer service, their product enough to allow them into the trust tree, into the nest, right? Where same thing, a phone call is like, hey, I need you to do this for me right now, or I need you to answer this. Same thing, where like I'm texting you, hey, Eric, I submitted an approval for travel. Can you have a look at it? Where it's the difference is like, hey, I need you to approve this. It's month end. I need it right now. And you're like, David, why are you telling me the last day of the month? Why didn't we plan for this, right? I think that's maybe
we got an opportunity a few years ago with a client to go to a behavioral science workshop. A guy named Dan O'Reilly I think he's out of Duke University. Really good guy. I think he writes for the New York Times and sometimes. Interesting cat. But he studies behavioral psychology and explains why things happen. And we were kind of exploring this text messaging idea at this point. And I'm going to take it back a little bit and hang with me on this one. Back in the 70s, people never wore their seatbelts. It was just kind of a thing that was always in a car, but nobody wore them, right? Mm-hmm. And they studied why people wear them besides this life and safety part of it all. What changed, because it was the same back then as it is now, what changed to make people wear seatbelts now? And there's two reasons that changed it. One is the fact that seatbelts kind of sit on your chest a little bit and you feel that pressure. And when you don't wear it, you feel like you're missing something. And two is the dang ding, ding, ding in your car.
True.
Because it reminded you to do it. And I think there's some similarities to why we pick up our phones, because ding could be my wife or a coupon to go buy a t-shirt down the street. Like, I think there's just some general personalities to mobile messaging that you can't get elsewhere. Let's switch the topic a little bit. I know we're getting a little close on time. I want to talk about recent news. So in mobile messaging, there's SMS, which is 1992, Merry Christmas. There's MMS, which is sending small videos, pictures, coupon codes. There's this other technology that's been around for a while called RCS, Rich Communication Services. It's rich media. It's basically MMS on steroids that have been around for a while. Google and some other folks kind of pushed it hard on the market. And just recently, Apple decided to jump on board, because of a lot of pressure from other folks. And what they're going to do is they're going to keep iMessage. It's not changing any, but they're going to accept RCS messaging transported over networks and devices and carriers and all that stuff. So, and where I think it's going to be important for brands is that we did some tests early on with RCS messaging with one of our pharmacy clients. And let me give you the layout, because I'm trying to visually show it without visually showing it. In SMS land, you get a text message from a 6-digit number. It could be, a pharmacy, it could be a store, whatever, but it's a 6-digit random number, which is, there's a lot of things to avoid fraud, but you don't know what it is. In RCS, you actually get a branded experience. So the brands have to register. So if the retail store down the street uses a red color, they can have their branding in red and it says verified on there. So there's a trust factor of it. And the pharmacy piece that we did, we sent out a notification saying, hey, Brian, it's time to refill your prescription. But with RCS, you actually have those pre-filled buttons. Yes, refill it. No, don't refill it. I might come in tomorrow. Like, you don't have to type it out. And we saw a pretty good jump in response rates just by simply, we used to ask yes or no. Now you get to just touch a button and it increased the amount of rates. So I think we're excited as RCS starts to get into the Apple side of the house, the business to messaging, business to consumer side of the business can just make that experience better for us as consumers, because we can now swipe videos and rich media and it's universal across all pieces. I think last time I heard, Android had a bigger market share than Apple did because of cost. There's some things there. But you still have 51% to 49%. You still have a bunch of people you can't message. And I think that's going to be some neat tech as it kind of grows over the next couple of years.
Yeah, well, and it goes back to your question on trust. Do you trust the mobile app messaging versus a text message? And we all said the mobile messaging because we know it's your app. And today we only know, well, it's your short code or that 5-digit code that comes across. If you had a message that came across saying, this is the brand, there's a check mark, it's branded, I think that trust level, similar to mobile messaging, is going to get more on an even playing field. And you said it best.
You guys trust mobile apps more as things as this. This feels like a mobile app.
Yeah.
It's just in the same text messaging component that you're getting from your family members or your doctor or whoever it may be. I think it's going to be really cool in the next couple of years.
Anything we want to wrap up with?
Do mobile messaging, customers, brands, everybody. Like, it's worth your time. I realize it may feel spammy in pockets in the last probably 2 or 3 years. We've gotten a lot more than we've ever had, but you will benefit from doing it just simply because, like I said, we are all checking our phones. I'm curious to see if it's how much more 50 times a day checking your phone than it was 3 years ago.
I'm setting the over-under at 250.
You think it's 250?
Yeah.
I think you're probably close.
Yeah.
Which is really sad.
Yeah.
There you have it. All right, let's wrap.
All right.
Thanks again, guys. We appreciate the time. If you want to hear more about this, please comment. If you want to and reach out, we'd love to talk to you more about just the technology in the space. And go win a bar trivia quiz with the text message question earlier.
So remember, 92.
92.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
I'm going to say today I want to talk about mobile messaging. I'm going to lean on you, Brian, because you send out a lot of text messages.
You type really fast.
Because you have mastered T9.
There's going to be 8 people that recognize what T9 is.
The T9.
And then
Don't
you
say
say whatever.
T9.
We got to say T9, dude.
Don't.
Yes.
All right.